Ndị be anyị kene m unu. Anyị sị ka ụbọchị nke taa mara na anyị na mma. Anyị si ka nkonye chidi ya zelụkwa. Dịka o si dị ya bụ Eastern News 24 ka anyị si were wetara ya bụ ozi unu je gị ugbu a n'iru akwụkwọ nke izi gbasịta maka ya bụ ife na-eme n'obodo anyị nọ n'ime ya. Anụ nwere onwe ndị Igbo na-azọ n'iru akwụkwọ. Dịka o si dị asọ nụrụ si megide ya kara nwanne ya. All right, this is according to the Biafran activist. Quote, na ndị ọbụla na-ekweghọtaghị ihe Donald Trump bụ the United States of America president na nke ikpeazụ a na-ewerezi ya wọtọwọtọ promas maka petition ndị Igbo na-ede na-eru ebe niile and the whole world is shaking. Ka mgba nkịtị nọ na ihe Trump kwuru n'iru akwụkwọ ife nwanne ya nwoke one of the Biafran activists bịa wetara bụ ife asị mba na anyị ga-etinyere unu ya kunu na-aghọta ife na-eme na mba ụwa and kunu na-afụ the impact of Biafran petition na the whole world. All right, over to you.
Donald Trump is going for the jugular. He's hitting Ukraine where it hurts them most. Military aid. Because Kiev may be fighting the war, but the US is bankrolling it. Weapons, intelligence, training, most of it is coming from America. Not anymore though, because US President Donald Trump has paused all military aid to Ukraine. We're talking about critical items here like bullets, missiles, rockets and launchers. Now, most of this was transported over land. First, the shipments would reach Poland. From there, they would cross over to Ukraine. That's how it worked. But since yesterday, those shipments have stopped moving. Ukraine will not get fresh weapons from the United States of America, and frankly, this is not surprising. Trump allies have consistently demanded cutting military aid. And after Friday's fiasco at the White House, it was just a matter of time. Listen to how the Americans have defended it. I'm quoting, "The president has been clear that he is focused on peace. We need our partners to be committed to that goal as well. We are pausing and reviewing our aid to ensure that it is contributing to a solution." It's basically a pressure tactic. Zelensky has refused to sue for peace with Russia, so Trump is putting pressure on him. His endgame is quite obvious. He wants Zelensky to come to the negotiating table. And if he doesn't, Trump wants to find someone who will. He says Zelensky may not be around for long.
I just think he should be more appreciative because this country has stuck with them through thick and thin. Now, maybe somebody doesn't want to make a deal. And if somebody doesn't want to make a deal, I think that person won't be around very long. That person will not be listened to very long. Because I believe that Russia wants to make a deal.
So Trump is saying Zelensky may not be around for long. Now, we haven't heard from Zelensky yet, but Ukraine's prime minister has responded to all of this. He says Kiev will hold out despite Trump's move. He is also hoping that Europe will step up. Meanwhile, Russia is thrilled. They're calling it a move aimed at peace.
It is obvious that the United States has been the main supplier of this war so far. If the United States stops being an arms supplier or suspends these supplies, it will probably be the best contribution to the cause of peace.
So what will be the impact of this pause? And can Europe step up to save Ukraine? First things first, this is not unprecedented. It happened in early 2024 as well. That's when the US Congress blocked an aid package for Ukraine. Back then, the same thing happened. Shipments dried up in Poland, so Ukraine had to dig deeper into their reserves, and for a while, all of this helped Russia. The Russians made gains around the city of Kharkiv. Finally, the American aid was approved in April, and only then could Ukraine put up a meaningful fight. So expect the same again. Experts say Ukraine can keep fighting for 6 months, but after that, they will need fresh supplies. If not from the US, then somewhere else. Which brings us to the next question. Could Europe play that role? The EU president says the bloc is ready. She proposed a new plan today. It's called Rearm Europe. That's the plan. The aim is to spend $841 billion on defense. $841 billion. That's almost as much as America spends. Listen to this.
We are in an era of rearmament. And Europe is ready to massively boost its defense spending, both to respond to the short-term urgency to act and to support Ukraine, but also to address the long-term need to take on more responsibility for our own European security. This is a moment for Europe, and we are ready to step up.
This plan has multiple parts, like allowing EU countries to breach their fiscal deficit cap and loaning $157 billion to member states. It's a very ambitious plan, but it's yet to be approved. EU leaders will be meeting on Thursday for a summit. Let's see if they agree to it. But even if they do, this is not going to be enough, because the European Union has a massive deficit to fill. Just look at the numbers. US military aid to Ukraine is worth $65 billion. US aid, $65 billion. European aid is $51 billion. And that is the combined effort of 27 plus EU countries. 27 plus countries, 27 of the EU and the other Europeans. So the sheer volume of American support makes it hard to replace. Same with the type of equipment. The US Army has a lot of items in surplus, like aircraft, Humvees and rockets, so they can spare and they can share this surplus with Ukraine's military. But the Europeans don't have such a stock. So how will they replace it? In the long run, maybe they can, but in 6 months, it looks like an impossible mission, which is why betting on Europe is a risk. Zelensky will be tempted to fight with European support, but if it backfires, he will lose more land. So his first option, that is depending only on the Europeans, is risky. The second option is to play nice with America, basically agree to join peace talks and to make concessions. Zelensky says he's open to a deal, but he's insisting on one demand. He wants America to provide security guarantees.
The lack of security guarantees for Ukraine 11 years ago allowed Russia to begin with the occupation of Crimea and the war in Donbass. Later, the absence of security guarantees enabled Russia to launch a full-scale invasion. And now, due to the lack of clear security guarantees, Russia is keeping this war ongoing.
But Trump is not open to it. His position was explained by Vice President J.D. Vance. Vance says the minerals deal, the one that they wanted to sign last week, is the best guarantee.
If you want real security guarantees, if you want to actually ensure that Vladimir Putin does not invade Ukraine again, the very best security guarantee is to give Americans economic upside in the future of Ukraine.
So Zelensky has two options. One is to bet on European support, and the second is to begin talks, make concessions to appease Donald Trump. Both these options have downsides. Let's see which way he goes.
Merci beaucoup. Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Namaste, Mr. President.
Bharat Kelogon, Komeri Namaste.
How many people generally follow you in interviews?
Typically in a month, we have viewers up to 150 million. That's more than twice the population of France. And in the last 2 years, we had 3 billion viewers. So I say, Laurent, this is your chance to be famous. You're on first post. One word to describe your equation with Prime Minister Modi.
Amitié.
As India and France work together, are you creating a new era of non-alignment in the technology space?
India is a training superpower. 1 million engineers a year, more than all of Europe and the US combined. So we have that partnership. We have a partnership on the environment and the economy. We also have civilian nuclear programs, and that is something we've developed far beyond the France-India relationship. So we want to work together on AI.
And then comes China with its DeepSeek, creating models at a fraction of the cost. Did that innovation take you by surprise? Did that breakthrough make you sit up and think, what did the Chinese do and how?
But what did DeepSeek do? They took everything that was already available from the last AI model, and then they recalibrated it.
So are you going to ban Chinese AI in France?
So we don't have this American approach of banning tech because of where it comes from.
Nwanne m ngwadalụli nne na ụmụnne m ka efu nwere ikwu gbasata maka ya bụ ife nọ n'elu akwụkwọ the update on Finland government gbasara maka the crisis that is happening there dịka nwanne anyị nwoke si wee kwuo na n'iru akwụkwọ ka efe nwere ikwu gbasara maka ya bụ ife drọpụrụ anyị ife iche n'ụdị nke gị